It's day number 7 and we're halfway through Ancient Inheritance. This will be a short video. Mostly I'm putting this out a little bit in advance because I want to get this map out here that people have been asking me for. Here's the map for floor number 4. Now I know it's kind of sloppy and squiggly, but the reason for that is on floor number 4 you're not in any kind of a hurry as long as you get here relatively quickly. You want to take your time, meander around and collect all of the loot you can along your designated paths. It took me a while to try to figure out a good map that just about any guild at any level could use for this floor, because they put the teleporters really far away from the priest. This makes it difficult to do what we've done in previous seasons, which is hit the priest, go out and loot, hit the priest, go out and loot. So in this case, everybody's going to rush in and kill the priest the first time, and then we're going to go collect those north and south guild chests, and then we're going to go out and loot some more. Once your looting is all done and you've got all the treasure that you need to clean out the shop, then everybody can converge back on the priest and spam kill it for more rewards. This way, if your guild doesn't get here until late in the event, you still are going to be able to kill the priest the first time and maybe get the guild chests. And for guilds that are advanced and are already on floor number 4, they should have plenty of time to kill the priests, get all the chests, loot the entire shop, and still have some time to get back to the center and kill the priest a handful more times for additional rewards. Now I ported in on the eastern side, so my pathing is going to take me south towards the southeast warden. On my way I'm going to pick up as much loot as I can because I don't plan to come back to this area. Wow, this is a very fortunate pickup. It's a heroic +2 charm in the class that one of the 2 classes that I'm focusing in, so I'm definitely going to pick this one up and replace the minor one that I had before. So after equipping this, I will just explore a little bit more. I'm taking a bit of a zigzag pattern because I'm trying to explore to make sure there's nothing missing here for the rest of my guild, because I want to update the maps, pick up the chest, pick up some experience. I'm going to leave the southeastern region of this map the same, because when I come back to hit that teleporter, I'll explore that area. So I'll head over here and take this mana lift over to the Guardian Island. I don't need mages, so I'll avoid that statue and just go down and hit the tops. Now these stupid spinning tops, you need to hit them with AoEs twice. If you have a ranger, using an AOE Ranger with Reignar's Drink is great because the pop of Reignar's Drink will act as a second hit and kill the tops. I guess you could do the same thing with Senya's artifact on a knight, but nobody runs knights. Holiday Yufine is really good for this fight because all of her attacks are AOE. BadCat Armin, all of her attacks are AOE. Yuna, all of her attacks are AOE. These are all good units to take in. There are plenty of mages with AOE attacks. Dizzy is an absolute champion in this fight. I don't really have many AOE units drafted, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up Holiday Yufine. Warriors do struggle at this one a little bit, but here's my team. So I'm picking Holiday Yufine. She's going to be my AOE spammer. I'm going to go ahead and run Tamarin with Asaria. Even though Asaria is a green unit into red, she enables my Tamarin, and Tamarin's S1 is an AOE attack as well. And I'm going to pick up Luna just for additional burst damage because I do want to heavily hit the boss. I hope I don't regret that, but I put Luna on Symbol to give me the best possible damage. Tamarin I have on Book because I want her cycling. Holiday Yufine I put on Azure Comet, not because I need the crit, but because when things die it gives her a CR push, and I'm hoping that it will count the tops dying. And of course I have Asaria on Song of Stars for the target debuff. Quickly turn off auto. Thankfully that didn't impact the fight that much. I'll do this AoE attack to get an attack buff on my whole team. And then I can use Asaria to reset Tamarin. I've got a 50-50 shot for Asaria to hit this fire unit and land some defense breaks, so we'll take a swing at it. And it misses, so maybe the artifact will at least proc, and that was resisted.
Don't be scared.
Well, I'll go ahead and try to get a defense break out of Luna's S3. And it got resisted too. going to be one of those fights, I see. Well, I can go ahead and transform my Tamarin now. I'm going to go ahead and use her S2 just to top off the healing, and because I don't really need the dual attack at this time. So Yufine does her S1, and that removes the skill null from the tops, and then the next AoE attack will kill the tops. The tops only have about 130 health, so as long as you have any kind of damage, additional damage, the tops will die from it. For example, if you run Clarissa, she does her AoE, it removes skill null, and it puts burns on all the tops, and then the tops will die on their turn when the burns proc. And the tops are back. So that's how this fight goes, and this is why you need either multiple AoE units or AoE units plus a pusher, so that the AoE units can take multiple attacks. And I got a lucky dual attack from Tamarin, so that took care of the tops. If you want to be a little bit of a gambler, you can run Rem or Green Purgiss. They both counter with AoE attacks, and they've got a very high chance to counter. So even if the tops go off when they explode, they trigger a counter, and then the counter kills all the other tops. So once again, I'll use my S3 to try to get a defense break. This time it sticks, so I can actually start doing decent damage. I got a lucky jump in with my Luna. And the tops are back. I really hate this boss. It's my least favorite one because I specialize in warriors, and warriors do not have a lot of AoE options. This is a much easier fight for mages or rangers to handle.
I won't say no to that. Oh, I'm scared. Go away.
Do you believe in me?
Okay, so you're about to see one of the problems with not having two AoE units. When the big top takes its turn, it pushes all of the small tops to the front, and they explode like mushrooms do in the abyss. When they explode, they put an AoE silence on your team that seems to ignore effect resistance. And there they go up, and then the exploding starts, everybody's silenced, they do lots of damage, and though I live through this because of the silence, my healers can't even really heal. So instead of Luna, a better choice may have been a second AoE unit or a pushing unit. I could have run BadCat Armin in her place, or I could have run Green Lots or Amelia to keep cycling Holiday Yufine. But instead, generally once the tops explode the first time, your run is pretty much over. So really consider AoE teams or Rangers that have Ragnar's Drink, or Warriors that have some kind of burn ability or bleed ability that will make the tops explode when they take their turn, when they start their turn before they explode.
I'm on my way. Don't be scared.
And that's the end of that run. All things considered, 750k damage is really good against a boss that only has about 2 million health. So, more than my share of damage. I'm going to go ahead and try one more team. I thought about just waiting for the rest of the guild to clear it, but I wanted to try out BadCat Armin for this fight. So, I went ahead and took a Katie's because she is a powerhouse healer, and I'm going to need some healing with the reflect damage coming back on me. I thought about using Amelia to boost the dual attack units, and I want to try that. BadCat Armin is going to be my AoE unit, and Kitty Clarissa is going to help with dual attacks, but also Kitty's S2 is an AoE unit. Now this fight's all about cycling, so I put Azure Comet on Kitty to help cycle her. BadCat Armin, I gave her Symbol because she's my only real DPS unit here. I put Tome on Amelia, and I also put Tome on Acades, again because I want to cycle their skills as fast as possible and keep them self-pushing to try to stay ahead of the the tops. Now there's no real reason to push anybody here other than the attack buff, and I kind of want to save that push for later, so I'm just going to do an S1.
I'll do what I want.
Kitty, I'll transform and go ahead and get my first chunk of damage in. I'm banking a lot in the fact that I only have one AOE unit here, so I've got to be very careful with this fight to control the tops. I will go ahead and use my S3. The S3 is nice because it gives you a barrier, and the barrier basically makes you immune to the reflect damage, because that reflect damage goes into the barrier instead of your main health bar. I'm going to use my S2 here just so I can get the Magahara's Tome CR push. No real other reason.
Clarissa wants to play.
Now, I'm going to use the S2 to rip off the skill null from those spinning tops. I'm going to go ahead and push up Kitty Clarissa just to help cycle her skills. I want her to be able to take multiple turns. BadCat Armin comes in for the kill. That takes care of all the tops. And I'll go ahead and rip the S3 heal just to top off the damage from the reflect.
Destroying everything. Destroying.
Unfortunately, the AOE S1 units, when you dual attack with them, almost all of them do a single dual attack, so you can't cheese this easily with dual attack units. You could with, like, say for example, Dizzy, but not with BadCat Armin or Holiday Yufine, unfortunately. Amelia is really nice for this fight because her barriers help protect you from the reflect damage. Now I need to push BadCat Armin up. She should cut in time for those tops.
Do your best.
Actually, with the boss self-pushing every time I take a turn, I am not convinced that BadCat's going to cut, so I'll use my S2 here to take care of the tops. Yeah, she wouldn't have cut and I would have lost, so that was a good call. And the tops are back, but BadCat is ready to take a turn. I'll go ahead and heal to get rid of all that reflect damage.
Spread wings of light. I'll do what I want.
And Amelia should cut, allowing me to push up BadCat Armin one more time. So I've got pretty good control, I think, over this team.
You fearless little rat.
What's her S Soulburn do? Does her Soulburn have an extra... For crying out loud, I was just looking at S3, and this stupid key registered a click, and I just bricked my whole run. That was supposed to be an AoE, the fight would have gone further, but
Start. Meow.
E7 being the game it is, was hypersensitive to that click, and oh man, this is a disaster. So there's no recovering from this, unfortunately. I only added about 200k to my original score, not even 200k. Well, this is frustrating. Like I said, as soon as you lose control of the tops, the fight's over. So make sure, I think the safest bet is to take multiple AoE units. Don't do what I did in these two fights and just take a single AoE unit and trust that you'll be able to cycle them. The safe bet is to have 2 AoE units on your team and 2 healers. Well, that's where it's going to end for now because I don't really have any other units suitable for this fight, so I need the rest of my guild to clear it. Hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend.